Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner today. This is something very special we're going to share as always. And I'm always delighted to, express this knowledge with my amazing colleagues. And, notice the background here in the States. We've been celebrating the Halloween weekend. I have a little one here that wanted to join us live as well, that we had an awesome time on Halloween as well. So without further ado, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach slash business consultant, partnered with Proctor Gallagher. And basically, my purpose is to reveal the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires. I work with individuals, entrepreneurs, business owners, businesses, basically helping you achieve and guide you to higher milestones. And it's all about believing in the unseen. That's what it's all about, believing that it's for you and believing that, that goal is ready for you and achievable. So I'll pass it to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Hi, well, thank you, Jamel. Good morning, everyone. So I'm excited about this particular chapter today, but my name is Lou Perica, and I am the founder of Prosperous Results. And I, too, am a success mindset coach, which simply means that I help growth-minded entrepreneurs and business women create results on purpose, because we're all producing results every single day, but most of us are doing it unconsciously. So what I do is I help them flip that switch to design results intentionally using the incredible power of their mind. Because once you understand how the mind really works, and then everything else starts to work as well. And this ties in beautifully with today's lesson. But I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Paul.
Everybody's getting applause today.
Thank you very much, Lou and Jamel. My name is Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. Also a success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant. And I help you create your life by design and with intention rather than by default. Too many people live by default. And I help you create the life that you want to have, the things that you want to do, the person that you want to be. And to help you understand, as Lou said, how the mind works and how to operate from the inside out, and to really help you live to your greatest possibilities and imagine anything that you want to do and be and have that you can truly have. And I help you get there using Bob Proctor's fabulous material that he's created, and through his mentorship and helping you create the life you want through mentorship. Jamel.
Can't forget that. I love it. I love it. Speaking of love, send us some love by engaging. Feel free to drop some comments. And here's a heartbeat. Drop some comments and also, questions, because what we're sharing here is life-changing. To be of all seriousness, I know, I like to keep you laughing, but, it's very serious because this is your future. And the question is, what are you creating with it? What are you doing with this beautiful gift and these tools we've been given? And with these free sessions we've been doing every Sunday. So at the top of the hour here, anything that speaks to you, make sure you reach out to one of us, whoever you resonate with or whatever that was shared. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the action that you take, and also how serious are you about changing your life. So reach out to one of us, and our call links are in the comments or decisions. And we're always happy to meet you and talk with you and help apply this material to your life. And so speaking of material, before we get into that, I want to give a special shout out to Alicia. She's changing lives out there. I'm sure she's using a lot of props And we may have a prop today as well. So hi, Alicia. We'll catch you on one of these other Sundays. And if you missed all 4 of us, you can always go back on whatever platform that you're on and watch these replays, because we share a lot of different things here on the replays. So what are we studying? The science of getting rich. What chapter are we on? I believe it's chapter 9. So chapter 9 is how to use the will. And last chapter was thinking in a certain way, which is it's the heartbeat of the book.
Certain way.
Thank you. Well, hold on. It wasn't.
The certain way.
In the certain way.
Thank you.
Very important distinction.
Very important.
Thank you. What did I say? Thinking in a certain way? Wow. And this is good. This is live television here, because in the chapter says thinking in a certain way. That's the title of the chapter.
Oh, I have that.
Look at that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I have that.
The
Anyway, okay, moving on.
Yeah. But, the idea is at least you're thinking the way you need to be thinking, not the way that you've been programmed to think. So that's very interesting. Look at that. So first off here, I'll mention, in this chapter about the will, the science of getting rich, this is important here. He mentions right off the top here, the science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. And that right there was a reminder for me that we have all the power within ourselves to shift our outside world. And you don't have to force it, and force negates. So it happens by very natural. It's very fluid. And it's interesting to see that again, because I know Neville Goddard talks about how he calls it the effortless way. And they're both saying the same thing, just in different ways. So to shift the outside, it's very effortless, but we as human beings, we have like this mentality that we have to force a lot of things and have this hustle mentality to do more and do more and do more. But in essence, what he's saying here, you're just being. That's what I'm interpreting when I see that. So I just wanted to start off right there at the top. That was mentioned right at the beginning of the chapter. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, thank you, Jamel. I think that this chapter is a bit of a turning point in the book, because the author, Wallace Wattles, is explaining that the will, it's not meant to control others or force circumstances. It's meant to control your own thinking so that you remain aligned with your purpose. And he shows that the proper use of willpower, it's not about struggle or about domination. It's about directing and disciplining your own thoughts, and to stay fixed on what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, and regardless of what's happening outside, on the outside, and the appearances of what's going on around you, or regardless of the doubts or distractions. And so it's really about controlling yourself. And I think he goes on throughout this chapter to make that really, really clear, and not about trying to control other people, and not fall back onto this plane of fear or lack or of resistance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So thank you so much, gentlemen. So I just want to share the clarity that I received once I started to study the mind. And this particular creative power, the will, for decades, I thought of as the willpower, some power outside of myself that I had to kind of battle, right? I had to battle it when I wanted to um, restrain or change things from impulses that I would have, right? Or I got, I need that willpower. And I felt like I was fighting this force. And when I think of the word will, or used to, I think of um, being headstrong, being obstinate, being willful, being stubborn. So I had this misunderstanding of what the will really is. It is a power, it is a creative power. It is one of our mental faculties, our creative mental tools, like I talk about in our workshop, our mind, our workshop. These are one of the tools, along with imagination, intuition, perspective, memory, and reason. So once I learned that the will was really focusing my attention, it wasn't something I had to battle or I didn't have enough of. I didn't have, my willpower wasn't strong enough to overcome that chocolate cake, right? So when I learned that the will simply means it's giving me the ability to focus my attention, to direct my thoughts. And when I learned about that, that was such a game changer, to understand that I have this tool, this gift that will actually is helping me create the reality that I desire by design, not by default. So this is what Waddles is talking about, is how to use this power, this creative tool, to direct the way we think. Jamel.
I love it. I love it. I also call the intellectual faculties superpowers, because they really are our superpowers. We become so conditioned to rely just on our senses. We can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And we've been relying on those since birth. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Lou, because you get so conditioned. But what these 6 intellectual faculties allow us to do is connect with the unseen, to connect with an unseen formless substance, is what Waddles talks about a lot. And that formless substance has an intelligence. He calls it intelligent substance as well in some places. So what you're doing with the will, you are seeing clearly what you are creating, rather than relying on what you see with your physical eyes. And that's why they say it can be a gift and a curse, right? What you see with your eyes can be a gift and a curse. And it's interesting, your perception will always dictate what you see, your concept of that thing. So Neville talks about the concept of thyself. So this is very interesting. I see so much comparison here, but in different, unique ways. So speaking of substance, he says substance is friendly to you. This is so amazing. Substance is friendly to you and is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. Wow. So substance, what he's talking about, we mentioned many times, is the formless substance. It's a thinking substance, the space in between two physical things that you can't see it, but you can feel it. Trust me. So it wants to give you exactly what you choose. And that's kind of oversight. When I first read it, I was like, I just read the book. I was like, wow, I'm inspired. I feel good. I know something. But now with this awareness, when I reread it, this substance, it wants what you want, probably more. It says even here, more anxious to give you what you want.
Yeah.
So anytime you're not achieving a certain monetary goal or attracting something, we'll get into that. You're trying to force it maybe, but also then you have opposite focus on things that you don't want, which is you're still using your will and your imagination, but you're using it ineffectively. And Bob always said, use your imagination effectively, not ineffectively. Big difference. And when you're going back and forth with your thoughts, like I did for many years, and not having focus on where you're going for one, and what you're creating, and you'll forever be in that perpetual cycle of doom. That's what he called it, perpetual cycle of doom. And you'll keep going back and forth. And your results will always tell you where your inner self has been in your thoughts. So really, really interesting to know that the universe wants to help you. It's working for you, never against you. But this is an understanding you will gain more when you understand yourself and what we're sharing here, especially when you take action towards mentorship for your life and your future and for your family.
Absolutely. What I wanted to share something. I went to a workshop, and the presenter was talking about stress. There were a couple of presenters, and they were talking about stress and things like that. And after the workshop, some of the attendees were going up to the presenter saying, "I'm so stressed out. I have so much stress. And in my head, I was just kind of chuckling because I think many people go through this because they don't understand. And I did it. And there are times I still find myself, I can go that way, but now I know to redirect that. So if you're stressed, I don't even know how to think straight, Lou. My thoughts are everywhere. This is why understanding the creative power, one of the superpowers is the will. When you start to understand that, you direct, because stress is only happening up here. Suffering is only happening up here. Lack is happening up here. So I was watching something. It was a great, I thought it was a great little example and a tip and a tool to use when you're stressed out, when your thoughts are going all over the place. I need money. I want to be rich, but I need money and I have to pay the bills, yada, yada. And you're stressed out and you're worried and you're thinking lack and scarcity, and you can't seem to get that off of your mind. I love this, thread a needle in your mind's eye. Just stop and pretend you're just threading a needle, right? And notice your focus now is on the needle and threading the needle. It's not on the other things. I thought that was such a great little tip or a little example of because you will realize right then and there, oh, I was over there, but now I'm going to take my attention. I'm going to concentrate and focus, use my will to place my thoughts on threading the needle. And this is exactly what Wallace Wattles is talking about. It's the will to redirect the way you're thinking. Paul?
Yes, I love that. I love that example, that tip, Lou, or that analogy. That's so good. And that's so true because so often people act through fear or their worry, or they let that direct their thinking. And acting, and so they try to force things into happening. But when you act without force, then when you act with force, right, you're creating tension and you're creating resistance. But real creation happens when you're aligned and not through force. So like Jamel was talking about, the formless substance. If you try to use your willpower to, as it were, conquer the formless substance, that's not the correct way of doing it. That's not the certain way or a certain way. but you simply have to impress your thought in a certain way. Now, so instead of forcing the outcomes, you focus your will on maintaining an inner calm and a feeling of expectancy. And then when you act from a place of peace, then the right people, the right circumstances, the ideas, the timing of things will start to flow to you naturally. But too often people are thinking about, they're in the competitive mindset. So when you keep your mind off competition and lack, then you're not comparing yourself. So when you focus on other people's success, or you worry about losing, or you are comparing yourself, then you're moving from that creation to that competitive plane. And so you have to reestablish and use your will to resist that pull and keep yourself on that creative path.
Mhm.
And the author reminds us that the universe is abundant, and as Jamel said, what you want wants you, and it's there for you. So the universe is abundant, so no one else's success limits yours. So if you notice yourself with fear or jealousy or envy, though, you have to nudge yourself back to the truth. And the truth is that there is enough for everyone, including me, including you, and my success. If I'm successful, that's going to help other people as well. So you just have to, bring the reins in and pull yourself in and reel yourself in, because it is one of our higher faculties, right? And Bob often put it when he said that the will is for holding the image, not forcing the result. Right? I love that. You right? Hold that image. It's holding, the will is one of our higher faculties, and that gives us the ability to hold on to that one picture on the screen of our mind, right? To the exclusion of all other things that are happening outside us, all those distractions. And that will gives us the power, the ability to focus and concentrate. And then the more you practice that, because it's like a mental muscle, right? The more you practice and develop your will, then the stronger it will become.
Mhm.
Wow. Both of you, this is amazing. I love talking about this and sharing this material. This is amazing. I was looking for the button. I found it. I found the button.
Delayed reaction.
Yeah, but this definitely needed applause for, what you both are sharing here in this very unique way. Thank you for that. It's just so powerful. And as you're speaking, Paul, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because this reminds me of the law of polarity, which is a universal law. There's left, right, up, down, hot, cold, in, out, etc., right? Inside, outside. But your mind, you can go either way. So how do you have an abundant mindset? By understanding yourself and the laws of our being, how we're connected to something more than what we just see or hear or touch with our senses. So now you're getting understanding of who you really are. Now, the reason why we doubt and have fear is because we have lack of understanding. On the other side is basically ignorance, simply not knowing who you are and how these laws work. So here at Coach's Corner, you're getting a better understanding of yourself and how these laws work for you. And they'll continue to work for you, whether you understand them or not. So this is to get a better understanding. That way you're moving in faith and you're acting in faith. And then you're even getting direction of what you really want in your life. Now, you won't have the will unless you know what you want, right? This whole session wouldn't make any sense if you're not imagining and getting emotionally involved with what you really want in your life and getting a very clear picture on what you want to create maybe before the end of this year. What is that thing for you? What do you really want? And that's the desire. That promotes the growth that you're seeking. and it's in one form or the other. So it's just waiting for you to make a decision. This is very interesting. So with the power of the will, like I said, that connects you with spirit, with something that you can't see or it's manifested in your physical plane yet. So what he shares here, a few takeaways here, he says, when you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. So what are the right things, right? And what do you think, right? So when you know what to think, this is getting clarity, order of the mind. Your mind can be inundated with stuff all day. I got to do the dishes. I got to clean the kitchen. I got to wash my car. I got to rake the leaves. We're raking the leaves yesterday. So you got all these things. Oh, I got to watch the sports game. And, all these different things. But when you're not in managing your thoughts, you're losing that image. You're allowing the outside to shape the inside. So it says here, when you know what to think, now you have direction, and you know what to do, that's the action. The body is an instrument of the mind, so it will follow naturally. It has to express what you're impressing, right? So, and then you'll naturally do the right things. It won't be forced. You don't have to force yourself. And he says, use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in these certain ways. See, he says "the" in this chapter. It's very interesting how he's playing with words. I never noticed that. So, and thank you, Lou. So he says, use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in a certain way. So that's basically what it is. You're thinking, but here's something I noticed. He's not saying feeling, which is almost everything.
That's another call.
Yeah, it's another call. He says, use your mind to form a mental image of what you want. This is very clear. We're giving you clear steps. And to hold that vision with faith and purpose, and use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. So the right way basically is having a clear vision of where you're going and what you want, and holding that vision regardless of anything on the outside. And I'll add a little secret. Feel as though it's here already. Feel it because it is. You have to impress the subconscious with a feeling. You have to. That's just a little extra seasoning for your dish there.
Well, when you think it, when you're really focused on the thought or the idea, automatically that causes emotion to stir. Whether you get excited, depressed, whatever it may be, but the thought creates emotions. Yeah, so surprising that he does not mention that there.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, I'm so glad you said that, because some people will ask, like, so how do I feel if it's not here? My mind is the center of divine operation. Mm-hmm. You're creating everything with your thoughts. And Lou shared there, right there, you're creating with your mind. And the more you think about it. If you thought about it all day, especially before you go to sleep, your subconscious continues to create. It continues to feel the last concept of itself. So I'm so glad you said that. So you'll naturally feel good into your next day. Mm-hmm. Unless you shift your thinking back to the negative polarity. Start thinking about, oh, it's not here, or it'll take long. I don't have it yet. That's why people think, oh, once I get the money, I'll be happy, right? Uh-huh. No, happiness comes from within. Love comes from within. You become happy. Then everything else comes. This is very interesting when you really start learning this and applying it, right? But yeah, thank you, Lou. You didn't interrupt. Sorry.
Okay. So I also wanted to reiterate that we want to use the will for good and not to, and for the good, not only for yourself, but for the betterment of all, and not to use it to coerce people, to get them to do things, right? So it's just as, when you steal something from somebody, let's call it a crime. It's also when you are trying to coerce somebody mentally, that is also a crime. So we want to use the will for good, for the betterment of all. I love the example that I'll use. All right, it's the end of the day. You finished your day, you're gonna go home or whatever, you're gonna chill out and watch some TV. Now, nowadays on TV, you have hundreds of choices. So you sit there with your remote and you're just clicking away. Now, depending on where you decide, you have all these choices. You are making a decision whether you want to watch sports, a rom-com, a documentary, the news, whatever it may be, some sort of a thriller or whatever it may be, you are making a choice. And then you've taken your attention now and you are focused on that particular program. But all along, you have had the choice. So the same thing with using our mind. So think of thoughts as all different kinds of programs or radio stations. Which one do you want to, which one are you going to choose? Which one do you want to land on? Do you want to listen to classical music? Do you want to listen to rock? Do you want to listen to hip hop? Do you want to listen to jazz? We are all in the driver's seat. Jamel, I think it was Jamel, maybe Paul, we're talking about universal laws, a law of gravity. I just want you to think about the law of gravity. It exists. It exists everywhere. Whether you're whether you believe in it or not, doesn't really matter. It exists and it works for everyone. It's not selective. Oh, I like these people better than those people. Oh, she's nice. That one's not so nice. She can float. He can. It doesn't matter. The law operates the same for everyone. The same with what we're teaching in these podcasts. The will works the same way for everyone. But we are in the driver's seat. We get to choose where we're going to focus our attention, put our energy. Because think about it, when you stop and watch the news, for an example, you get sucked in and you're hearing about all the gloom and doom and disasters and wars. Maybe they put a little hint of something good at the end, but they sucked you in to all the negativity. But always watch that and then you go.
Oh, I think you froze there, Lou.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So you switched from the negative news over to the rom-com. Now you're feeling light and happy. Feel the different vibrations. So that's why our attention on whatever it is that we're focused on has a vibration. The vibrations have frequencies. Those frequencies get sent out to the universe for the universe to reciprocate to that frequency, not to Lou personally, not to Paul personally, not to Jamel personally, but the frequency that Paul, Lou, or Jamel is sending out. So if that would help you, thinking about that remote control, you're in the driver's seat. Always remember that. You are not a passenger on your journey. You are in control.
Yeah, so well said, Lou. So well said. Another great analogy. I love that with the control, right?
I'll do it since Jamel's.
But it seems like our default setting is fear and doubt and worry and failure. That just seems to be everyone's default setting.
Yeah.
And so we have to use the will to act with confidence and with persistence, right? Persistence is a really huge characteristic to have, really important. And once, and I'm thinking about something Jamel said earlier, but once your thinking or your thought is clear and your faith is firm, so your faith, if you believe in what it is that you want to have, that it's there for you, as Jamel said, it is there for you, and it wants you to, the thing that you wants you, it is there, it exists. So when you start acting from a place of faith and belief, in spite of what you see happening around you, then you have to act. Remember, it's positive thinking. It's only half truth. Has to be in harmony with the way you're acting. So when you think of something, I think we talked about this in the last chapter. Once you think of something, then you have to act on that. And then when you do that consistently, then your willpower shows up as persistence, right? And that steady decision to keep moving forward, even without evidence. And there's something that Jamel likes to say is lack of evidence is not evidence of lack, right? And that's where your faith, and you have to hold on to that faith. And the author calls this acting in this certain way, acting with confidence, and that what you desire is already moving towards you as well. And that will keep you taking the aligned action, right? Action, even when logic says, no, wait until you see the results. But faith says, act now. Fear makes you hesitate, makes you procrastinate. So the proper use of the will is self-direction, not control. And it's the ability to hold on to that thought on truth, and keep your emotions in harmony and act from faith rather than force, right? Force negates. So your will is the steering wheel on that creative plane that you want to be on, and it keeps you on course until that destination that you want appears. So remember that the creative mind isn't pushing, it isn't forcing, it allows, right? It allows things to happen. And so your will is really like a guardian of your thoughts, and it ensures that you're staying, aligned and on track, and with, your faith and purpose, and, as we often talk about, and with gratitude, until you see those results manifesting. Mel.
Wow. Oh, where's the button again? Thank you, Luke. Good applause. Let's get real applause. Yes, I love it. It's so amazing to hear this, because without the will, I was reading something, and it's basically, it said something about ships. So imagine like a big ship or a cruise ship, or back in the day when they used rudders to control the ship to go to different ports and different destinations. That's what your will is. It's that little rudder that's pointing this massive machine or imagination, right? In action, moving, right? Think about that. So your will is pointing you in a direction of where to go in life. That's why it's so important to get very clear on what you desire. And that's the power of the will. That little rudder is controlling this massive cruise ship that's probably 4 football fields long, but it can move it in any angle, turning at 70 degrees or whatever turn radius, right? So that's what your will is. That's the beauty of it. So if you don't have a destination, what you really want, you're just having life happen to you. You're that cruise ship without a rudder. It doesn't know, it's just moving with the current. The current's tossing it over here and tossing it over there, and it doesn't know where it's going. It can't control itself. So imagine doing that your entire life. I did that a majority of my life, not knowing this material. The will is very important. So this is something you have for free. and you will always have it for free. But now you're getting an understanding of how powerful it is to create what you want, to take you to that destination. And Paul mentioned, we basically nothing's never created or destroyed. It just is in one form or the other. So when you're creating something that isn't here, you're just raising your vibration to match it. And that's what I was going to mention. Your feeling basically is conscious awareness of the vibrational state you're in. So when you're thinking this image of what you want to create, you start getting very, very, you start feeling it. And then the body naturally acts. But guess what happens when you're thinking about this image? Even the molecules of your body is vibrating at a higher frequency. That's why you feel so good. So that's the scientific connection to the spiritual explanation. There's two different ways, right? Science and theology, right? To explain all of this. So not to go off the deep end, pun intended, the rudder, the ship. So
got it.
the more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more speedily you will get rich. That's what he says here. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose. So basically, you're increasing your faith by knowing who you are and knowing where you're going, and you know what your purpose is. The more speedily you will get rich, because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. So what you're doing is positively impressing your subconscious mind with obviously clarity of what you're creating or where you're going, but you're also feeling it, and your body naturally takes action. Not only just action, just doing things, you're actually attracting what you want because you're in that vibrational state. As you're moving towards it, it's coming towards you. You're creating based on vibration as well, not just by force. That was something I really had to understand. And I'm glad I finally got that awakening. So he says here, the picture of your desires held with faith and purpose is taken up by the formless. It's receiving what you're giving it, right? So as you're planting those seeds in your emotional mind, your subconscious mind, the universe is like, oh, you want this. Oh, you want that, right? And it permeates it to great distances throughout the universe. So these thoughts are very powerful. I'm glad he mentioned that in this chapter. Right? Your thoughts will go so far and create what you want. This is nothing to laugh at. It's something to be at all with. And we all have these abilities. Your imagination, right? Layla, hold up Fergie. Where's Fergie? Hold up Fergie. Look at that. So look at Fergie. Fergie's sleeping right now, but guess where that idea came from? The formless substance. Where did it come from, Layla?
Imagination.
Right. Imagination.
Yay!
That's right. Imagination. And everything you want and desire comes from that same place. So just wanted to tie in some of those things he mentioned with, obviously the knowledge that we, apply into our lives.
This is so good. This is so powerful because this is so foundational. I go to workshops, I hop on calls, I listen to what other people may be sharing, but it still leaves the audience or the listener kind of still wondering and guessing. How does it work? It all sounds wonderful, makes sense, but without this foundation of who and what you are, how the mind works, the creative process, we're forever grasping, trying to other pieces of the puzzle. I have highlighted here, doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you, as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubt and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. We talked about it last week, picking it up and putting it down, picking it up and putting it down. This is what Jamel was talking about, the steady course for that cruise ship or that ship to reach the port. It's a steady course. And I love when they say sets a current away from you. What is a current? It is a vibration. It is a frequency. What do we call money? Currency. So this is why we really cannot keep track of all the thoughts we have. We have, I don't know, I've heard 60,000 more thoughts a day, but we can keep track of how we're feeling. This is why it's so important to every now and then during the day, how am I feeling? You may have forgotten. You just had, maybe 100 thoughts in the past 20 minutes, and they've come and gone. You don't even remember what you were thinking about, but you'll remember the residual. You'll feel the residual of those thoughts by how you feel. They left a trail. Even though you may have forgotten the thoughts, they have left a trail, that vibrational frequency. And then you go, oh, I'm not feeling so terrific. I must have been thinking the wrong thoughts. Or thoughts, I shouldn't say wrong thoughts, the thoughts that are not serving purpose, serving my goal, serving on how I choose to experience this journey, how I choose to give back to the community, who I choose to be, that image I have of her showing up in the world does not feel like this. So I must course correct. Let me course correct. I picked it up, but then I put it down. I picked it up, but then I put it down. So let me get back on course. I am in the driver's seat. So it's a great way, again, to feel what you have been thinking for the majority of the day, because it does leave a residue. Paul?
I really love that, Lou, because it's so true. And we really need to monitor our thoughts, right? If you're feeling a certain way, you just spend some time to reflect. Okay, what is it that I'm thinking? What is it that I'm entertaining in my head? And that's why I'm feeling so this way. And if you're feeling a certain way, you're going to act in a certain way. You're going to get a certain result and things like that. So you have to spend that time just reflecting and being in control. Okay, what is it? I'm flooded with 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. But what am I really entertaining? What am I nurturing? Which of those thoughts am I really accepting? And so I'll go back a little bit, and I think I wrote it down somewhere. The author said, you can't retain the right mental attitude when you're trying to force the universe to give you what you want in your way and time. You have to use your will to focus on creation and controlling of your own thinking, right? So it's such a great point that Lou brought up. And you don't need to make things happen. You need to keep thinking in the way that allows them to happen, right? And direct and hold that vision steady. Again, circumstances around you will tempt you to doubt and complain, or even let go of that vision that you had. You say, oh, I can't hold on to that vision because look what's happening around me. Or look at, what's the news, or look at what's happening here, or this or that. But so your will's highest use is to hold that thought, right? Without wavering on that mental image of what it is, the thing that you want. Like Jamel said, a ship is traveling and the rudder holds the ship in the direction it wants to go, even though it can't see maybe its destination or the port, but it believes that's where it's going. So faith and gratitude that it's yours, that it's coming your way. And just as that compass needle on that ship is pointing north, your will keeps your mind pointed towards what is your truth, right? And when you do that, then the appearances will start to come and manifest for you. So when worry arises, then you have to find some kind of affirmation to pull back the reins and collect yourself and reflect. What is it that you're thinking, and is your thinking in alignment with what you're acting? Are your actions in alignment with the thing that you want to do? Or are you thinking and acting based on your fears and all those circumstances that are going on around you? That made sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Oh, wow. And Lou and I had the same notes. She read the exact same note I was going to mention. But, to add to it a little bit, Wallace Wattles mentions doubt or unbelief is a certain way to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. So unbelief, right? How do you believe something that you don't see yet or you don't have in your life yet? How in the world do you do that? Now, remember, many times we've mentioned on past episodes, both faith and fear demand us to believe in something we can't see. We have a choice. Mm-hmm. And energy is always flowing to us. And what do we choose to do with that energy? That's what thoughts are. It's energy, also known as spirit, right? So we have the choice to mold what we do with it, always, in every waking moment. Constant spaced repetition. So what happens to believe something, I got to bring out my prop here, the stick person, right? So here's the conscious and the subconscious. Okay, tell them. Go ahead.
So cute.
This is the conscious and this is the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the body.
Good. That's good. And talk louder. What are these? Talk loud.
See, hear, smell, taste, and touch.
Thank you. Good job.
So good, Layla. So good.
That was amazing. So yeah. Yes. So this is your conscious and your subconscious. So to believe something you can't see yet, you have to place it here in your subconscious, because the subconscious, it can only receive. It only accepts what you give it, especially continuously, and you water it with emotion. Here can accept or reject. So these thoughts that give you doubt or unbelief, you can reject and ignore those thoughts because they'll continuously show up. They will. Or you can accept the thoughts that serve you. And here, what's interesting, you can create thoughts that you want here or allow what your senses tell you to influence what you think here. So there's two different ways for the conscious. You can create or allow the outside world to dictate what goes there. Here, it just accepts what you give it every time, good or bad. And he says, since beliefs is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts. And Lou mentioned, like, we don't want to like think about our thoughts constantly. That'll drive you crazy, right? But you want to like manage your thoughts. Just be aware when a negative thought appears, even about another person or even about your current circumstance or where you are, because what happens, that brings another train of negative thinking in some type of way. So he says, it behooves you to guard your thoughts, and as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about. Right? So what are you observing? How are you letting the outside world influence your inside? And it is important that you should command your attention. Command your attention. I can say that 1,000 times. So you want to create the thoughts that will serve you to your highest self. And we're unlimited, so there's no highest. So we'll say your higher self. So, and this reminds me in another way, in the coin of heaven, you must stop spending your thoughts. You must invest your thoughts. So what he means by that, you're investing your thoughts into becoming your higher self. You're spending your thoughts when you're just letting everything making you upset or negative, and you're looking at all these things about you don't have this, I don't have that. Look how much you do have. And you can even play tricks on your subconscious because it doesn't know what's real or make believe. So you can make believe you have it now. In actuality, you do. You just you don't know that on a subconscious level. So there's different ways to say it, right? So don't spend your thoughts anymore. Let this episode be an awakening for you to move forward and really, really be apply this knowledge, because it shapes everything. And of course, you got all of us here to help you. Not only just every Sunday, you see this really helping you, reach out to one of us to set up a call today, because this is life-changing. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes, because it's part of you. It's part of your identity, rather than what you've been programmed and conditioned to do all of your life up until this point. Right, Layla?
Oh my gosh. I thought that Layla is absorbing all of this is incredible. It's going to be so fun to watch Layla grow and what she's going to achieve in life, what she's going to experience, and what she's going to contribute. She is so ahead of the game. Kudos to you, Jamel, and your wife. Really, it's a big deal. So I just wanted to just read one little thing here. Oh, by time. What tends to do away with poverty is not getting the pictures of poverty into your mind, getting pictures of wealth into the mind of the impoverished. I just want to give a quick example, and I've used this many times, but I feel so strongly about this. My daughter took us to a dog shelter a few years ago, and when I went there, it was devastating. It was a devastating experience for me. I'm a big dog lover, and the dogs were so crammed in, et cetera, et cetera. They were in the midst of building this big, beautiful shelter. Now, we go to the new shelter. It's magnificent. But I know, right? I know. And I said, well, how's business? Because we'll donate, or we'll bring cleaning goods, et cetera. And she goes, oh, my God, we're more busier than ever. I said, of course, because I knew this was going to happen, because they're trying to dump more money into an effect instead of going to the cause. I received an email, I think it was in September or August. They had over 2,300 animals dropped off. Okay. So the point is, you got to go to the root cause. You got to go to the culture that's creating all of it. You can't just keep putting a Band-Aid and building bigger shelters and more and just donating money just to keep the shelters bigger and better. It will until you go to the root cause, and the root cause of the way people think, the way they believe, their habits, their fixed mindsets. Right? So this is what we're all talking about. It's going to the root cause, because thought is creative. thought is creation, and your emotion is the magnet. Emotion attracts. So between thought, emotion, and then taking action, this is how we get results. So if you do want shifts in your life, whether it's personal or professional, reach out to one of us, because it's very difficult to change the way you think with the same mind that's creating the problem. Paul?
Well, you know what? That's a mic drop, I think, there for you. That was fantastic. No, that was so good. It is so true. And Jamel says week after week, you know, if this material speaks to you, to reach out to us. And it's taking that action to do that. It's taking that, you know, what do you have to lose, really? You're going to gain, you know, you're going to gain some clarity, even if we don't, you don't end up working with any of us, you're going to get clarity. And that's so important, because most people don't even know what they really, really want. And they have no idea. They have no idea how to get started. And so it's not just about, you know, learning and reading and studying. It's about implementing that. And I think Jamel said that at the top of the hour, the top of this podcast, that he said, you know, it's about implementing, about applying what you're learning and about what you know, and not, you know, and it really works through mentorship. But I'm going to leave you with this question, and that is, you know, ask yourself, do your actions come from a place of faith or fear? And how can you train your mind to stay fixed on your vision no matter what's happening around you? Jamel.
Wow, that's a powerful question. I love it. These are so good. This was such a powerful session, and I'm glad we're able to give so much value, because, like I said before, this is so life-changing. And it's interesting. I randomly opened this book, and it goes right to the gratitude chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm so grateful, you know, to express this knowledge, because, you know, we're all passionate about it. And it's different when we're able to talk in this type of environment and provide it, right? So let me share what he mentioned at the very end of the chapter to set it home here, because he worded it so beautifully. You got different books, right? So let me see if I can find it very briefly. Okay, here it is. Every man or every person who becomes rich by competition throws down behind them the ladder by which they rise, and keeps others down. But every person who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow them and inspires them to do so.
Yeah, it's great.
You are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want.
Applause. Where's the applause person? Where's the button?
I know, who does that?
Okay.
Right?
Someone's sleeping behind the wheel back
No. My paradigm didn't want to give myself applause.
Interesting.
But no, you know, apply this knowledge. You know, this has been a great session with my amazing colleagues as always. And we'll see you next Sunday. You know, don't let this go in one ear and out the other. Take notes, revisit it, and just use it. This is, you know, this is all free. We're not even charging for this.
It's so crazy not to take advantage of these calls. They are so powerful. They are so informational. You don't need more information. You need a transformation. We all do. Right? Yes, we all do.
Yeah, but we know viewers, you transformed on this session. I know you did.
Yeah.
So
And thank you to Layla. You're an amazing co-host.
yes, my amazing co-host.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next Sunday, everybody.
Good,
Sunday.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.